What's up everybody, this is Danny, and today I'm going to be doing my first OnePlus 6 comparison, and that is with the iPhone 10. And this is really interesting because the iPhone 10 is about $1,000, while the OnePlus 6 starts at $529. So pretty much half the price, so we need to see how well the OnePlus 6 stacks up for half the price. So that crop on the OnePlus 6 though looks pretty huge. So in terms of the front-facing camera, we're going to see that the OnePlus 6 has dual microphones, so you should be able to hear the difference in audio. So let me know which one is better, and let me know which one is better on the stabilization. So I'm going to go out today. I got to spend a lot of time with the OnePlus 6 in London, so you're going to see a lot of shots from that. And let's see if double the price equals double the image quality.
First, let me start off by saying that all of these shots were taken in full auto mode. I feel like this represents the average consumer best. There is a full manual mode on the OnePlus 6, so keep that in mind if you need that. But both of them look great in daylight, both sharp, full of detail, and nice dynamic range. But what I noticed is that the OnePlus 6 tends to land warm, even warmer than the iPhone sometimes, which is known to land on the warmer side of white balance anyway. But I feel that the 12 megapixel sensor on the iPhone is producing higher contrasted images straight out of the camera, while the OnePlus 6 leans towards giving you more shadow detail. So this is a preference thing for sure when it comes to any camera comparison, but some shots on the iPhone just look more balanced with better overall image processing. When it comes to dynamic range, they do go back and forth sometimes, where the OnePlus does a better job with less clipping as seen here in this scenario, but consistently I feel like the iPhone shows better balance with harsher lights like the sun, less haloing like you see here on the OnePlus image. But it's very impressive that the OnePlus this time around is competitive with the iPhone. Images are very comparable, even though I feel like the OnePlus 6 is still oversaturating the sky to a more hyper blue, where the colors remain more natural on the iPhone. But once again, this is all preference to what you like, but during the day, I will give the slight edge to the iPhone. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. They are both great. I don't think you'll be disappointed in either. They both have 2x options, but the iPhone 10's is optical, where the OnePlus 6 uses a digital zoom, so the iPhone 2X tends to be a little sharper. I feel like the balance of colors and the white balance are more consistent with the iPhone, but they do go back and forth sometimes because in some shots, the OnePlus 6 looks sharper. They both have portrait modes on their rear cameras. The one advantage of the OnePlus 6 is that it has no crop on the camera when you go into portrait mode, where the iPhone, you'll definitely need to back up a little bit to get the portrait mode to trigger. They both do a great job with separation of the background, but the iPhone does give you, again, a more contrasted image, crushing the blacks, which can be good or bad if you edit images before you share them, but I personally think that the iPhone is more ready to share out of the camera. When it comes to daytime 4K video, the OnePlus 6 gives you a slightly overexposed but flatter and brighter image, but the iPhone 10's colors are more accurate, so it all depends if you want to take this work into post or not. When it comes to the walking video, the stabilization is great on both, but the OnePlus 6 uses electronic stabilization in 4K 30 frames per second, as seen here, but it only uses OIS when it's in 4K 60 frames per second, which both of these cameras can shoot, so if you want to know what they look like, I will leave some links below for you, but I think the OnePlus 6 is smoother overall, almost like a gimbal. They both shoot slow motion at 240 frames per second in 1080p. They both look great. They're both smooth. The OnePlus 6 does look a little sharper to me though. And the OnePlus 6 also has a 480 frames per second option in 720p. And while it's not the greatest quality, it'll be a lot of fun to play with. And you can record up to 1 continuous minute of slow motion, unlike other cameras, so that's nice. The iPhone 10 has a 7 megapixel front-facing camera, and the OnePlus 6 has a 16 megapixel front shooter. The OnePlus 6 still has that beauty filter look where it smoothens the skin and brightens it up. I feel like the iPhone does a better job overall with skin tones, more pleasing to me in my opinion. At night, they're both pretty terrible, but the OnePlus 6 creates the brighter picture, and even with the front-facing flash feature, the OnePlus 6 produces the brighter image. The iPhone 10 has front-facing portrait mode, and the OnePlus 6 will add this in a feature software update. And if you care about this feature, the iPhone 10 has portrait lighting mode where you can customize that portrait selfie with a few different modes, so keep that in mind. So let's move to low light, my favorite part. And from looking at a ton of these images, they are very similar in low light, which really impresses me considering the price point of the OnePlus 6. What surprised me the most is that the OnePlus 6 is showing higher dynamic range on most shots. You can see here in the windows, and even though that the iPhone shots show more detail, especially in the shadows, I personally like the OnePlus 6's shots more because I feel like the image is more balanced overall with less clipping of harsh light sources, better contrast, and while some might not like the warmer and more saturated image of the OnePlus 6, I think it's more ready to share out of the camera, where the iPhone, I feel like you need to add some contrast and some saturation and do a little editing to make the image ready to post. This caused quite a conversation on social media where some prefer the iPhone because it does show better overall exposure, but I prefer the overall color rendition of the OnePlus 6, so I'm very curious to see what you guys think because I think the OnePlus edges it. When it comes to video though, it's a little different because the iPhone 10 does a much better job at color replication and noise reduction. The OnePlus lands really cool on the white balance, giving off some funky looking colors sometimes. And even though it's a brighter video, I prefer the iPhones. The dynamic range and balance of exposure on nighttime video goes to the OnePlus 6 because look at how it handles these harsher lights, and the windows, you can see everything inside, but the video on the OnePlus is very hyper saturated in colors and it just looks unrealistic. Low light does go back and forth, and in some situations the iPhone does show better results. Look at the smearing here on the red Coca-Cola building on the OnePlus image. But again, I'm genuinely impressed with the OnePlus 6 and being able to even stand toe-to-toe with the flagship like the iPhone 10, especially in low light, shows how far that OnePlus has come. And finally, they created a phone with competitive imaging, so I hope this helped you out if you're planning to pick up a OnePlus 6. If I had to make the call, I think I would still pick the iPhone 10 because it has a more balanced camera experience overall. So if I had to pick just one, I would pick the iPhone 10 due to the better video quality, slightly better image processing overall, and the overall quality of the images on consistency. But the OnePlus performs very closely at half the price, even beating the iPhone 10 in low light pictures in my opinion. So feel confident in picking up a OnePlus 6 if you want to save a lot of money. The iPhone 10 is better, but it's not double the price better. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Subscribe for more camera comparisons like this. Thumbs up for these two awesome phones, and I will see you guys in the next one.